Learning Not to Worry. You and I, Dale Carnegie wrote, are standing this very second at the meeting place of two eternities, the vast past that has endured forever, and the future that is plunging on to the last syllable of recorded time. We can't possibly live in either of those eternities, no, not even for one split second. But by trying to do so, we can wreck both our bodies and our minds. So let's be content to live the only time we can possibly live, from now until bedtime. Carnegie spent 7 years reading and studying about worry. He interviewed all the leading experts of the day. He read every worry book he could get his hands on. Out of all that research came a book about worry and stress, How to Stop Worrying and Start Living, which was published in 1944. For the first time ever, the basic techniques for overcoming worry were laid out in a simple, straightforward way. Obviously, the years since then have brought with them many new causes for worry, but the timeless principles that Carnegie set down are still as fresh as ever. Learn these techniques. Apply them every day. Almost certainly, you will gain greater control over your life. You will experience less stress and worry. You will end up mentally and physically healthier too. 1. Live in day-tight compartments. It's mind-boggling to think about how much energy gets wasted on the future and on the past. The past is over, and the future hasn't yet arrived. There's only one time we can possibly live in. That time is the present. That time is today. So work in the realm of the present. Put your energy, put your attention, put your drive where it will count. Today. And then get to work. You just may be surprised by how much can be accomplished in one day-tight compartment. 2. Take comfort from the law of averages. By asking yourself just one question and paying attention to what the answer is, you chase a good chunk of worry from your life. The question is this: how likely is this thing to happen anyway? Most of the things that most people worry about don't happen. That's worth remembering. My life, wrote the French philosopher Montaigne, has been full of terrible misfortunes, most of which never happened. 3. Cooperate with the inevitable. Every day our lives will be peppered with unpleasant realities of various sorts. Some of them we will be lucky enough or skillful enough to change, but there will always be problems that are beyond our reach. When we stop fighting the inevitable, that is when we have the time, the energy, and the creativity to solve the problems that we can. Put a stop-loss order on your worries. Try asking yourself the question that Wall Street investors ask themselves whenever the market falls. How much of a loss am I willing to take on this investment? At what point do I just take the beating and walk away? You can follow the same system when it comes to worry. Ask yourself, how much worry is this one problem worth? Is it worth one sleepless night? Is it worth a week's worth of anxiety? Is it worth an ulcer to me? Very, very few problems should be. 4. Keep things in perspective. Some things aren't worth worrying about at all. They're just too tiny. Most of the time, it just doesn't matter. Yet we all know people who have turned their lives inside out over such trivialities. What a waste. 5. And finally, get busy. Nothing takes your mind off worry like having it occupied with something else. That's a technique professional actors need to learn in a hurry. When you're up for a big film, said Annette Bening, who has had major roles in Bugsy, The Grifters, and other films, the waiting period can be months. They meet you, then they go away. They meet other people, then they meet you again. One thing I found useful was to start working on the part. When I don't get a part, I just try to move on mentally, not dwell on it, and get on to the next thing. If you're finding yourself getting worried, take on a new project. Learn a new skill. Do something you believe in. Focus on the needs of others. Getting busy takes your mind off your own problems. You'll also be serving others, which will make you feel better about yourself. Despite all these fine worry-stopping techniques, you will still have problems with your life, and you will need to deal intelligently with them. Here's a useful 3-step approach. If you'll just ask yourself these 3 questions, it's amazing how much more clearly you'll see what you're dealing with. 1. Ask yourself, what's the worst that can possibly happen? Thankfully, most of our problems are, in fact, not matters of life or death. 2. Prepare yourself mentally to accept the worst if necessary. 3. Ask yourself, what can I do to make the situation better? Work calmly and methodically to improve upon the worst. After years of struggle, things were finally looking up for Mary Kay Ash. She had remarried, the children were finally grown. She and her new husband had saved just enough money to start a small cosmetics company, a dream she had nurtured for years. Then her dream nearly disintegrated. The day before we were to open this company, Ash recalls, my husband died of a heart attack right there at the breakfast table. My husband was to handle the administration of the company. I don't know a thing about administration, even today. Every single penny was committed. We had only $5,000, my personal savings. It sounds like very little, but probably it would be worth $50,000 today. On the day of the funeral, we had no time to waste. My 2 sons and my daughter and I sat down to decide what to do. Do I stop or do I go on? All my dreams just plunged to the ground. But Mary Kay Ash believed in herself too much to give up. Her son Richard, who was just 20, offered to do what he could. Mother, he said, I'll move to Dallas to help you. She had her doubts. I thought, big deal. How would you like to turn your life savings over to a 20-year-old? But Ash wasn't one to let doubt overwhelm her. She doesn't take well to defeat, so she pressed on. That was the beginning of the company. True to his word, Richard moved to Dallas the very next day with his bride of 2 months under his arm. The lawyers were saying, why don't you go directly to the trash and throw the money in, because you're never going to make it. And pamphlets from Washington told us how many cosmetics companies go broke every morning. Her positive attitude got her through it all. She just kept telling herself, I think it can be done, and I'm going to try. With an attitude like that, is it any surprise that Ash succeeded? These positive, self-confident feelings don't only help you achieve more, they also make other people want to be associated with you. We all respond to the attitude of others. That's why people are drawn to those with upbeat outlooks on life. We want to surround ourselves with friends or coworkers who are happy and productive, who have a can-do, it's-no-problem attitude. Just as predictably, the constant complainer in any crowd doesn't get much company. Why is this? Attitude rubs off on others, good or bad. This is a vital concept to remember for anyone who wants to be a successful leader today. There are few more powerful motivators than a positive attitude. Tame your worries and energize your life.